A massive thank you if you donated anything towards my Movember campaign. In the midst of the absolute bollocks that is the year 2020, I was still able to raise £1,093 in the name of men's mental health and suicide prevention, and I couldn't have got there without you wholesome bastards, so thank you very much indeed. But as you can see, the wretched thing has gone, even though I must admit, it did grow on me. Quite literally. But I must ask you a question. Do you want some wrestling news headlines?
Yes.
Good, because I've got some. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Chaos backstage at Monday Night Raw. The main event for TLC 2020 has been confirmed. And get the confetti out, an NXT superstar is getting married. Find out who in a bit. Now, of course, it feels like just about every single week we're stood here on a Tuesday morning speaking about the same old thing. Chaos backstage at Monday Night Raw. And guess what? We're stood here once again because thank you to a report from those over at Fightful on their paid select service, there was once again chaos backstage at last night's Monday Night Raw. Here's what we know thanks to Fightful themselves. The final draft for last night's Monday Night Raw was sent out less than 25 minutes before the show went on the air. We're told the last couple of weeks I've seen some considerable changes, including some that were beyond WWE's control. The shock and horror of it all. I mean, you are thinking about things that are beyond WWE's control, and we've all seen the reports over the past couple of weeks claiming that WWE wanted to put on Daddy Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman for the WWE title. Unfortunately, however, Braun Strowman went down with an injury at Survivor Series 2020, so that proposed matchup penciled in for the December 20th pay-per-view that has been put to one side. That's the kind of stuff that can't be helped, unfortunately. But could you imagine being a WWE writer? What an infuriating existence that must be. You spend all week sat round a table with your teammates, you've got graphs out, you've got calculators out, making sure WWE storylines, they're consistent, there's no plot holes. You rock up for work on a Monday night excited to see your hard work and endeavours put into action by these larger-than-life superstars, and then Vince McMahon rocks up, he shouts, "Shut up!" right in your face, and then he writes some stuff that makes you look bad. Imagine that being your life. But there we have it, more backstage chaos on Monday Night Raw. A Monday Night Raw that will be graded segment by segment later today on this very YouTube channel by the illustrious Tom Campbell, whereas I'll be back with all the WTF moments from last night's show also later today on this very YouTube channel. A stacked day on this YouTube channel. And part of last night's chaotic Monday Night Raw saw Riddle, AJ Styles and Keith Lee go at it in a triple threat match where the winner would go on to face Drew McIntyre in the the WWE title match at TLC on December the 20th. And with those reports of the Braun Strowman injury still ringing in our ears, we got ourselves a definitive winner. AJ Styles will be the guy going on to face Drew McIntyre for the WWE title at TLC. And this wretched year, it couldn't get any worse, could it? So close to Braun Strowman versus Daddy Drew McIntyre, and now we've got to settle for the stand-in that is AJ Styles. When will the cruelty end, 2020? When will it end? Bazinga. I don't mean that at all. It's better, isn't it? So just in case you haven't seen last night's Raw, we had Riddle and Keith Lee going at it, hammer and tong in the middle of the ring, throwing all kinds of forearms and punches and kicks and all kinds of cool strikes like all the good professional wrestlers do. Then out of nowhere, Keith Lee sort of moves to one side, then AJ Styles flies in with a phenomenal forearm and pins Riddle clean in the middle of the ring. Riddle got himself into a piddle in the middle of the ring. AJ Styles then went backstage and cooked himself some celebratory meat on a griddle. Nonsense. AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre, they have never had a big proper singles match on any sort of wrestling card ever. I think they had a dark match last May at a Raw taping in London, England, but that's it. But it would appear this match for Daddy Drew McIntyre at least is a bit of a bucket list bout. And that's because he told News 18 in an interview last May, when I went to Impact Wrestling, AJ Styles had just left. In the independent scene, we were trying to set up the match, but I can't get the bloody paper undone. That never quite happened, so we just kept missing each other. When I came back to Raw, he was on SmackDown. Now, this is last May of course, we are finally on the same show. When I first started wrestling, like 18 years ago, it was guys like AJ, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Low Ki, who were the new generation of wrestlers with a different style. Trying to get the attention, I am very much looking forward to that battle with AJ Styles, and finally, it will happen at TLC later this month. Imagine being Leon Ruff these days, man. First of all, you get signed with WWE NXT, then you become North American champion, then you become a meme with your belt falling down your legs to around your ankles, then you're in the middle of the ring watching William Regal himself do a sassy Teddy Long impression. Player. And now to put the cherry on top of the proverbial Leon Ruff-shaped cake, if that's even a thing, he's only gone and got engaged. Yes, Leon and WWE referee Aja Smith took themselves over to Twitter not too long ago to announce their engagement, and just look at how happy they are. Doesn't it make you sick? I'm only joking, of course. A massive congratulations to the pair. Over the moon for the both of you. It just goes to prove that 2020, it isn't all that bad, really. And I just can't wait for their wedding to take place, of course, because it must include some kind of run-in from somebody who shouldn't be there. It must include maybe an imposter during the ceremony at the altar, and it also must include Aja Smith herself getting her face planted into her own wedding cake. They are both involved in the professional wrestling after all, aren't they? Don't treat her like a woman. Don't treat her like a man. Don't treat her like you know her. Treat her just like a WWF champion. That works, doesn't it? But finally, we have some extraordinary claims from the former manager of China herself, Anthony Anzaldo. Of course, the ninth wonder of the world herself, she made plenty of history while turning out for WWE. She was the first woman to appear in a men's Royal Rumble match. She was a former two-time Intercontinental Champion, but the history making, if Anzaldo's words are to be believed, it wasn't going to stop there. There was going to be a whole lot more of history making for China. Anzaldo has been speaking with Wrestling Inc., where he said they offered her the WWE Championship belt, but Vince McMahon said, "You can't do that gentleman's magazine with the bunny on the cover," which, if we mention by name, by the way, we'll see this video demonetized, by the way. I don't know why. Anzaldo continued, she went and chose to do the gentleman's magazine with the bunny on the cover over the belt. She went and got her boobs done 1 week and she didn't tell Vince. And when she came back, he was effing pissed. Vince says if you go and do the bunny magazine, you don't get the belt. She said, F the belt, I'm doing the bunny magazine. Anzaldo then continued bigging up the statistics around the China edition of the bunny magazine, claiming it was the highest selling out-the-box bunny magazine within the first week. And apparently, by the way, it's in the top 3, only behind Kim Kardashian's edition and Marilyn Monroe's edition. Good on you, China. But it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? Imagine a WWE universe where China would have been the world champion. I guess the story way back then, around about 2000, 2001 time, the story would have been there with Triple H if he was the champion. China maybe taking the title off him. But it just makes you wonder, what could have been? China could have been our WWF at the time champion. Bloody hell. But that's it for your Tuesday morning wrestling headlines. As I said earlier on, Tom Campbell will be back with Graded for last night's Raw later today. I'll be back with all the WTF moments. A final thank you to everyone who donated to my Movember campaign. It's the last time I'll mention that bloody thing until next year when we do it all again. But as for your Tuesday, stay safe and stay brave, and more motivational quotes. All the best to you.